This one's wife. Sent home, but still all about me. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Imagine you, as a non-narcissist, are told that you have to go home. You might protest, you might plead your case, but ultimately you go. You might not be very pleased about it, you might be angry about it, you might be upset about it, but in all likelihood, you would depart, and you'd keep your head down. You would, in effect, slink away. Whether you've been told to leave an event, whether you've been told to depart an organisation, whether perhaps you've been given a red card playing a sport and have been sent off, the likelihood is that after a period of protest and annoyance, you would accept the decision, albeit perhaps reluctantly, and walk away. You wouldn't continue to draw attention to yourself. This one's wife has been sent home, as I've explained, that in the circumstances, whilst this one's wife maintains that it was a planned departure, it is quite clear, by virtue of the fact of her narcissism, the fact that she was revelling in overshadowing everything, that she would have stayed longer, and that the powers that be, and quite possibly Prince Harry, have had enough of that behaviour, and she was issued with the diktat, "You're going home." Thus off she popped. No quiet retreat, no, "Hey Harry, where's this one's wife gone? Oh, she's had to go home to see to the children. Oh right, thanks Harry." No, this one's wife needs everybody to know what she's up to, of course. After all, would you ensure that backgrid are waiting at the airport to photograph you as you clamber off a private jet in your purple top and head across to your SUV and then head home? No, you ordinarily wouldn't. But as reported by the Daily Mail, a windswept This One's Wife was spotted disembarking a private jet, which brought her home to California after she left Prince Harry at the This One's Wife Games in Canada. The Duchess, in a blue jumper, looks purple in the photograph, with white letters, was unaccompanied, except by a security guard. After all, there could be hordes of middle-aged women waiting to throw tomatoes at her, as she stepped off the plush transport inside a hangar at Santa Barbara Airport on Tuesday evening. This one's wife flew back to be with their children at their home in Monte Shitshow after spending 5 days in Vancouver and the ski resort of Whistler. Aides said the trip home was pre-planned, and this one's wife had only intended to stay for 5 days, as she had at the 2023 event in Germany. Yeah, but that comparison isn't quite right, is it? Because she turned up late for Germany. After all, she wanted to make the grand entrance and talk about how she'd been preparing milkshakes. Following his wife's departure, the prince has reportedly taken a day off to relax and unwind. Or, in other words, think, "Thank God she's gone. Now I can be myself." Prince Harry will be spending Valentine's Day apart from his wife after she returned alone to the couple's £12 million home in Monte Shitshow, California, to see their children. Harry, meanwhile, will stay in Canada to watch the rest of the tournament for injured service personnel and veterans, which will end with Sunday's closing ceremony. It was stated that this one's wife had always planned to leave and let Harry attend the remaining events solo. But that's good of her, isn't it? To let Harry do it just demonstrates the mindset of this one's wife, that she's effectively granting permission of her, granting her permission to Harry for him to go solo. Now, I'm given to understand that this one's wife took with her 5 suitcases. 5. Now, I travel regularly. I'm backwards and forwards doing the things that I do professionally. Leaving aside my professional kit, which is linked to what I do naturally as a job. I'm often away for a number of weeks, and I take 2 large suitcases that covers me for those 2 weeks with regard to the various bits of clothing that I require, because one can always look in certain instances to access a washing machine as well. And yet this one's wife, I'm given to understand, had 5 suitcases with her, which tells me that she was clearly planning on being there for much longer than just 5 days. After all, let's bear in mind what would be in those suitcases. One would be solely for puffer jackets. One would contain shoes and cloven hooves. The other would be for cosmetics, rictus grin, various facade masks, wigs and extensions, veneers, spare veneers. Another would be packed with marching powder, and the other one would have empty glass jars to collect Whistler snow to then sell in the Netflix stores as frozen star freckles. So, yeah, it's absolutely the case that if she was taking 5 suitcases with her, she intended to stay longer than 5 days. Come on, who do you think you're trying to kid? Once again, this one's wife exhibits the fact that she can't do anything quietly. And despite being sent home, it's organised for her to be photographed. The pictures that appear in the Daily Mail and other places are courtesy of Backgrid. The picture of her exiting the private jet, Backgrid. The photograph of the SUV waiting with security guard, Backgrid. The images of her luggage being offloaded from the jet, Backgrid. And therefore, in the circumstances, it's quite clear that not only has she once again tipped off the paparazzi to ensure that she's pictured, because why else would they be hanging around Santa Barbara Airport, and then to ensure that it's picked up by news outlets. Her thirst for fuel, as I've told you, is unending. She will never, ever be able to fill up. That is something that her narcissism drives her to do again and again and again. It is a ceaseless quest. She doesn't know that's what drives her behaviour. She knows that she likes to be seen. She knows that she enjoys attention. And after all, there are many people that enjoy attention without them being narcissists. And therefore, she would never, because the narcissist would stop her from doing so, think to herself, I really like attention, don't I? Oh, that's rather narcissistic of me. It would never compute. But once again, having been sent home, in effect in disgrace, that was then. Her narcissism compartmentalizes it, and it's on to the next thing, which is, I need to make sure everybody knows that I have arrived home and that the press report it. Because once again, when it comes to this one's wife, whatever happens has to be about her. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.